Who talks first? You talk first? I talk first.
Oh, that's next week. We'll talk about that next week.
Mr. Propose.
We already talked about that.
Oh, are we going to use that as the intro for...
Well, now we're not because we're acknowledging it. Hey, welcome back to Scoundrels, Inc. This week we're talking about The Bad Batch Season 2, Episodes 7 and 8, Clone Conspiracy, and Truth and Consequences. That's not all three, that's two.
You know, Truth and Reconciliation was my favorite level in Halo.
Interesting. This is a Star Wars podcast. I have to save that for the Halo podcast on our
Sister channel.
Much talked about Patreon that we talk about every week. But if you're here for the first time or returning and you still haven't hit subscribe, either way, just, hey, hit subscribe. If you're on the podcast feed, hit the follow.
Come on.
Our podcast feed, Spotify, Apple, all those things out there. Social medias too, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. If you don't want to watch the whole thing, we put our clips up there, so all the good stuff is over there.
You should watch it.
Watch the whole thing.
I mean, yeah, we would like you to watch the whole thing.
Or do what I do. Just put it on in the background at work.
Yeah, you just
and
mute
you know
it,
what?
put it on 2-speed.
And you know what? Leave a review. If you're listening on podcast, Janine, I know you're listening on podcast. You're a big podcast girl. Leave a review.
She can't see the face I'm making at her right now?
No, she cannot. And it's good.
Wow, it is
it's
phenomenal.
good.
We should charge for that.
Who came up with this?
That's a fish.
Is it a fish?
That's a fish. That's like a.
It's always a bigger fish.
There's always a bigger
always
fish.
Big fish.
All right, guys. This what a weird, great, awesome 2 episodes of Bad Batch.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So we got
like Andor Batch. Am I right?
more like Andor Batch.
Very much so. I was going to say that. That was going to be one of my points.
Are we a little, before we get too far into it, are we a little disappointed there's no Mon Mothma in this episode?
Didn't even think about it.
Yeah, where is she? Oh, man. Why is she not fighting for the clones?
Yeah.
Is Mon Mothma, like, she's great, but she's also kind of racist
She's
against the
real
clones?
racist against the clones.
Do we think?
You know,
like, that's the one issue she just doesn't give a crap about.
That's why her and Perrin don't get along, because Perrin's like actually pro clone rights.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
But I could see that though, because he come at it from an angle, be like, come on, we got to support our veterans.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
you're trying to help these people on this planet. We got to put our veterans first.
Oh my gosh.
I could
Wow.
see him doing that.
Did I derail the podcast before we even
This
started?
is something else.
Oh boy.
Clone Conspiracy. This one was very much like a Cloak and Dagger, very Andor-esque, if you ask me.
Did it remind you a little bit of the Clone Wars episode, like some Clone Wars episodes?
Yeah, for sure.
Like with,
Oh, for sure.
You know,
Like the politics of it all.
because
very
we're
interesting.
back at that clone bar that we have.
70, Clone 79. Was it 79?
79,
Yeah.
69?
How come we
79.
How come we don't have a clone bar?
We don't have clones, Brandon.
What?
It's just Lucy the sheep from 1998.
Yeah.
How do you remember that?
I don't know that's Lucy is the name. I know it was a sheep. I think it was.
Do you remember
98.
Coco the gorilla?
Oh, what?
Big personal friend of mine. Yeah.
You know, she did the sign
Really?
language.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Was that her name, Coco?
I don't know.
Yeah. I was a big fan. Can you make this joke?
Oh no! Oh no! Say what is it?
I was gonna say I was a big fan of Coco until we were having a conversation one day and she signed at me that Ray was Mary Sue.
Tune in Monday for our Force Awakens chat.
Fun fact. Ray's not a Mary Sue, and Coco couldn't actually do sign language, so you know,
Dang.
it's all right. Yeah, we open up with Slip.
Slip.
R.I.P.
And what was
Slip.
it? What was it?
And
Cade?
I don't remember because Cade.
Cade,
Slip
right?
and knocked.
I was gonna say I don't remember because he gets shot.
they should, man.
All right, so
Holy crap.
when Cade gets shot, did you think it was Crosshair?
Oh, I think yes, I did. I was like, that could be Crosshair, but I was like,
Until they showed him, I think in like the hologram is the first time with
yeah, when he was talking.
Admiral Douchebag. What's
Rampart?
his name? Rampart. The hologram, I think, is what you see. Like he's got like the whole helmet apparatus thing going on. I could be wrong, but anyways, the first time I saw him, I was like, "Ooh, they're hiding him." I don't think it's Crosshair.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so my at first I'm like, oh, like Crosshair's like working directly for Rampart, eliminating loose ends, and then I thought about it. I'm like, you know, I don't know that Crosshair would be that gung ho about killing other clones. Like, yeah, I know he definitely follows the Imperial Order, but like we haven't seen him kill another clone yet.
Yeah, especially after all that stuff with Cody a few episodes ago.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it flipped the switch in him, and it just depends how long
I thought it would be somebody that we know, not just some random clone that we have to like uncover this mystery now.
I was kind of hoping it was going to be like a bounty hunter we know, like a proto, you know.
What What if it was like a cyborg Zam Wessel?
or like Dengar.
Dude, that would have been
I
nuts.
like my idea better.
But it
Yeah,
turned
I
out,
do too.
but it did turn out to be something way more interesting.
Yeah, it is.
When it's just another clone.
Shawnee.
Jeez.
R.I.P. Zam.
You know, you've watched Attack of the Clones too much when you could repeat Zam's gibberish when she dies.
If you want to see more Zam, you could play Star Wars Bounty Hunter for the
I want to
PlayStation
know,
2.
yeah.
guys. I want to know all about Wishani Sleemo. Because that sounds like a Star Wars name.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So, Cade wants to expose the truth about he's a Camino truther. You know,
Right.
nah, man, the Empire did
Are we
Camino.
gonna do one episode at a time, or can we like bounce around? Because it is so connected.
Yeah, I think we can combine
Yeah, we
them
can
both.
bounce around.
Yeah,
We're not gonna,
okay.
we're not gonna spend too much time.
Because I do love kind of how it all ends with like how manipulative Palpatine is,
Yeah.
and like it's like,
Sure.
damn, we all played right into his hands.
I want to say I love the moment of Bale putting the holo projection up, and like just the sheer
From the tape.
shock
yeah.
of the rest of the Senate of, oh fuck, like they are telling, like
Yeah. I think
this is true.
even before that, you see Bale meeting with Chuchi in the alley.
Is that her name?
Yeah, Senator Chuchi. Yeah,
Chuchi?
Chuchi. Yeah,
Why does that sound wrong?
it's not.
I think you're right. It just
Yeah,
Senator
now that
Chuchi.
you say it sounds wrong, it does sound
Joni
wrong.
loves Chuchi.
That's 100%. That's why I know it's Chuchi, because it's not Chachi. It's Chuchi. That's why I know it's that, because I 100% thought of that. But no, I think it was great to see Bale show up. I know we're talking about Mon Mothma, but it was also great to see Bale in this capacity of like, hey,
I just
you
feel like
be careful what you're hunting down, because he's already been down this road since the fall of the Republic, right?
sure.
I
I
mean-
just feel like a camera pan over Mon, like because she's there,
She might be back on Chandrila, right, at this point.
Yeah, it's possible.
How many other senators know that Palpatine is the Dark Lord of the Sith?
Just Bale.
This was
definitely
a really interesting line in this episode when he's like, well, then Chancellor Palpatine,
Yeah.
as if referencing like, this is a different dude, like that's running the whole show here. Like, this isn't, but I mean, it's also playing into the fact that we call him Emperor now instead of Chancellor.
Sure.
So it's like there's that, but I just feel like there was more behind Bale saying, oh, remember when Chancellor Palpatine?
It is so interesting how like hopelessly optimistic what Chuchi is. Like, she's like, oh, like, she's trying to explain like the Senate to Omega, and she's like, oh, the Senate, like, we all come
This
together.
is where we
and we delegate.
And Omega's like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm like,
And she's like,
I'm thinking the same thing.
and
Like,
we,
yeah,
and
what
we,
does
and
that
we, and we
mean?
come together and we do good to help the galaxy. And I'm just like, listen to what you're saying. You literally answer to an emperor who will never give up his power.
Yeah.
They do set up the fact that he's just never there.
Well, here's the thing. You know what
which
the
is
crazy
great.
But then
thing
they
is?
twist it because like, oh, he trusts that you guys will do the right thing.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what the crazy thing is? I think if the fucking Senate could stop bickering, maybe some good could have been done. But
That sounds awful.
I know it sounds awful fucking.
Because
familiar.
Palpatine, up until the Death Star, Palpatine needs the Senate. He needs their cooperation.
to a degree, yeah.
To a degree, yeah.
Because I think it makes things a lot easier.
Yeah, certainly.
Especially at this point in time when they are like in between military infrastructures.
Yeah,
And, like, let's
at
be
this
honest.
point, absolutely. At
And
this, if the Senate could agree at this point in time, they probably could have done something, right? They probably could have wrested control back from Sidious.
But the dark side has shrouded
It's
this
a pathway to
entire
many abilities. It's
in
something
that it has shrouded the entire Senate, right? He has corrupted the entire Senate. That it's like, yeah, he's going to need the Death Star to get rid of the Senate,
they
but
all-
he can still, as we see at the end of these two episodes, he can still easily manipulate the Senate.
Most of them believe is bullshit. And to
Yeah.
quote,
Yeah,
to quote
I
Andor, they're
think-
fat and satisfied.
I think that's less. Not that the dark side doesn't have anything to do with it, but I think that's a little bit less the dark side and a little more just fucking human nature.
I mean,
right?
sure. I mean,
You know.
you're tapping. He taps into people's
Right.
worst.
Of course, if you're
characteristics.
only living in your like luxury apartment on Coruscant, you're gonna be like, yeah, of course the galaxy's doing fine. Look at how great it is here, and you never leave, and you don't care to leave or do anything.
Yeah.
I do. I actually kind of want to go back to
The first episode.
the first episode when we reveal Rex. Is like that contact
That's
trying to
pretty cool.
get the clone
When
out.
he shows up.
Yeah, I mean,
You knew it was Rex, though.
Oh, 100%. You had it had like there's no one else that could, I'm like who else could it be besides Rex?
I love how they all
it could have been
recognize
Cody,
him.
but I was like,
Yeah.
it seems like a
Everyone's
Rex
like, Rex?
Rex. Even the senator's like, oh, Captain Rex.
Hey, Rex.
Yeah,
It's like how he looks
It's like
like
we
every
all
other
look the
clone.
same.
thing. Yeah.
That's the way he carries himself.
Well, especially because the
He
one,
struts like a Rex.
especially because one of the signifiers of Rex in the Clone Wars is the blonde hair. But now he's completely shaven, so he doesn't even have the like.
He's got like a little twinkle in his eye.
Yeah, he looks a little bit different from the other ones.
A little bit.
Like Cody had a scar that like denotes Cody.
I was gonna say also, I really like the conversation that.
Some of them have beards now.
I liked that.
Oh
that
yeah,
was cool.
with Kate. Yeah, I also really like the conversation that the clones have with Chuchi about you're gonna need representation. Like you're
Right.
like
Yeah.
one day you guys are not gonna be able to fight. Like that's just how it's gonna go down.
Because that one
and
clone
you
had
need to
that
take
very
care of.
like Viking mentality of like,
100%.
no, I'm fighting till the day I die, and she's like, newsflash, you got like 10 more years, dude, if that.
Who are you gonna fight?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, eventually there's gonna be no one for you to fight. What are you gonna do then? Like, let me help
What
you
would
out.
you-
So I thought it was a really interesting way to again dive into the lives of what a clone goes through. I mean, we've been through between the Clone Wars and this show, The Bad Batch. Like, they have done such an amazing job of giving you what it's like to be a clone from start, almost really to finish. At this
Well,
point
and
now.
realistically, they only have like a 15-year combat shelf life, probably a 10-year combat shelf life, and we're 5 years in on the oldest clones.
yeah, right.
You know, like at this point, so they don't have long.
I mean, I kind of wonder what happens to the clones from the very first batch of clones. Like, are any of them still alive? If so, what are they doing?
yeah,
You
because
know?
I think like Rex and Cody are from the first batch.
Are they that old?
They would have to be, right? Like because
Oh yeah. I
this
guess,
was okay. So I had
Right?
mentioned this before the show. I guess my friend Templin over at the Templin Institute did a video on the Grand Army of the Republic earlier in the week, and then today he released a video about what could have gone wrong with the clone army. Basically saying that, and it's definitely worth the watch. Go check out the Templin Institute. They have a lot of great videos. Star Wars, not Star Wars. A lot of sci-fi, like analyzing sci-fi society and military structures and governments and stuff like that. Really cool channel. But today he did one on the Grand Army of the Republic, and what happens if the war had started 10 years later or 5 years earlier, and the clones weren't ready.
oh wow,
Right?
interesting.
So this idea that they have
Teenagers fighting a war.
but this idea that they have like a prime year because of their accelerated growth rate. So, but yeah, Rex would have had to have been in the first batch or near the first batch because the clone army was created like the idea was concepted 20 years before.
in the Phantom Menace, right?
Yeah,
That time.
which means that most likely getting the ball rolling probably be about 10 years.
so the clones are probably like 20 with the
Right.
aging. Yeah.
So, I think Rex and Cody, I think our higher ranking clones are there because they're the earlier batches. I don't think it's ever outright said.
Coming to Disney Plus soon, the earlier batch.
Yeah. The early batch.
The Golden Batch.
But
Kind of like the Golden Girls, but it's the Bad Batch, all just, retired.
Thank you
and
for
stuff.
being
But yeah,
alone.
so yeah, they don't have much longer as far as shelf life goes, right?
I mean, they have till Rebels at least,
Yeah, they have at least till Rebels, but even at the time of Rebels, I mean, if
Pretty
you
old.
look
They're
at
pretty old at that.
like
point.
Rex
Greg-
fights in the Galactic Civil War.
Rex does, but if you look at like Gregor or Wolf at that time, like they're not really, they're not where Rex is.
Yeah.
They're certainly not where Rex is.
Yeah. I mean, so in total, this episode is like, what's your retirement plan, guys?
Right.
Because, which
Have
is
you
a
thought
really
about
interesting.
Have you thought about a pension?
It is interesting.
Yeah, they say pension.
Do you want to take up a hobby?
Yeah, they say pension. In this
Omega
episode.
really brings in the like perspective of a kid though, which like at first sounds like, yo, what the hell? Shut the hell up. What are you doing? Why are you telling everyone in the Senate chamber that you're a clone?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
when that's like a very sensitive subject right now. But at the same time, it's like, so you want to be like, no, like you're wrong, Omega. But at the same time, it's like that, like it's just interesting how like a kid's mind could be like, where they just kind of blurt something out, and your initial gut instinct just be like, that kid's wrong. But then you're like, no, wait, they're making points though.
Yeah. They make good points.
Yeah, where she's like, where's the clones representative in the Senate? It's like, yeah, where is the clones representative
Yeah,
in
what
the
the hell?
Senate?
No one thought about that.
And
you
who's
know?
and who's representing the droids? Honestly, who's representing the droids? Someone's gotta.
The Trade Federation?
Yeah, well, we've seen how they've done.
yeah.
Yeah, I loved seeing Masa Maeda.
Oh
more
yeah,
in
yeah.
this.
That was
Very
cool. to see.
involved.
Very
With
involved in this
Rampart and the
episode.
corruption and all that.
It's just kind of cool to see because he's such a background character in the prequels, but like he is so integral to the government. I mean, he's the number 2,
Yeah.
essentially. You know, he outranks Vader for all intents and purposes.
What's his deal anyway?
He is the Grand Vizier.
Great. Yeah.
Is
What does that
his-
even mean? Like, especially like in the time of the Republic, because he was like,
He's essentially the vice president.
because he was standing next to Valorum too. You know what I mean? Like whispering in his ear, and he's like, "And to the bureaucrats." And he's like, "Just kidding. He's gonna be my best friend in a couple of years."
Yeah. Well, he's essentially the vice president,
Yeah.
or like Speaker of the House. I guess.
Yeah, I guess more of
would
like a
be,
speaker. I would. I don't know that there is. Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
And he finds out early on Palpatine's a Sith, and he's like,
I
"I'm cool
think
with this."
yeah, I'm pretty sure he knows. I'm
He's
pretty
like,
sure
hell
he's
yeah.
like, hell yeah, hell yeah, bro,
It's like, dude, I love the Sith.
dude, say no more.
Say less, man.
They're like
Say
Jedi
less.
with a little bit of spice.
Did somebody say lightning finger?
You should imagine they're just like moments before Yoda walks in Revenge of the Sith. They're just like chilling in like his chambers, and they're just like, "So you want to do the lightning fingers? Come on, you ask me all the time." And it's like, "Come on, please do the lightning fingers." Okay.
I feel like this is a robot chicken sketch.
So, I like the idea of like Palpatine and Mos Amida meeting. He's like, "So Mos, can I call you Mos? I want to tell you something. I'm evil." And Mos is like, "I don't know if I'm okay with that." He's like, "Oh yeah, well I could do this."
yes.
He's like, "I'm convinced."
Can you let my death stick for me?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Cool.
So, I think these 2 episodes.
I know a guy with tentacles on his head if you want some more.
These 2 episodes are really illuminating in terms of how the Senate is working at this period in time, because this is the most action we get in the Senate, I think, out of really anything.
And how epic is it when Palpatine does make an
Dude.
appearance?
It was like,
Well,
like they're bickering and he just like shows up and everyone just shuts the hell up.
it's like,
I
oh,
loved-
Daddy's home.
Can I just say, speaking of having Palpatine and Rex and all that, I am so glad they got the original voice actor for Rex to come back for this episode.
Yes, we're very fortunate, Sean. I thought you were going to say Ian McDermott, but you didn't.
I
was
didn't.
like, you
Was
went
that
the
Ian
Rex route.
McDermott? It sounded
Yeah, it
like
was.
Ian
It was.
McDermott.
It was
yeah.
Ian McDermott.
But they couldn't get Jimmy Smits for Bail Organa.
I
No,
know.
fuck no. They
He
never
sounded like
have.
Phil
He
Lamar.
sounded weird.
It was Phil Lamar.
That was Phil Lamar?
Yeah.
Oh, was it really?
Wow.
Yes.
Well, he did his best.
Yeah, he did
And
his
like
best.
he, I felt like he added a little bit more of a little flair to what
Phil
Jimmy
Lamar
Smith
is
did.
Phil Lamar.
Yes, he's that Phil Lamar.
Well,
No, I can't. I was thinking of LeVar Burton.
Oh no, that's LeVar
No.
Burton because they're 2 different names.
I also wanted to point out we did see one.
Who's Phil Lamar?
We did see one
I
senator
guess he's
voice actor.
yeah.
Voice actor?
He was in Mad TV.
Okay, yeah.
I think that's probably most popular thing I can name you for him.
I was gonna say, correct me if I'm wrong. Well, we see one senator in one of these 2 episodes, and she's one of the ones in Rogue One.
Yeah, yeah.
She's
Yeah,
like, "If
Pomelo.
Yeah, she's like, "What chance do we have?"
Yeah.
Like that lady.
Yeah, she came back.
I only have one outfit.
It's the same outfit.
She's in the same outfit.
Chuchi was in Clone Wars.
Yeah,
too.
Chuchi was in Clone
So-
Wars.
Really, I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah. She has that.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool.
I did notice like
little-
Rex's like hideout was like
Well, that's why she knew Rex.
those people from season 7 of
Season
Clone
7.
Wars.
But I
Ahsoka.
want to know how he knows them because he
Traits.
didn't actually interact with them.
Maybe through Ahsoka.
probably through Ahsoka. Yeah,
Yeah, but like, okay.
Those
Good
just
anyway,
because you
spot.
didn't see it happen doesn't mean it never happened.
Yeah.
but Ahsoka meets them in season 7 and then dies in season 7. So does that mean Ahsoka at some point went back to Coruscant with Rex when they were supposed to be hiding out together?
Probably.
Before they went to Naboo or after? All right, that's all.
You know.
Anyways,
Listen, I'm not their keeper, okay? They can come and go as they please.
all right, whatever. Anyways, I like the I like this idea that's kind of been built up over this season of the clones starting to have like second thoughts about everything, and the clones starting to be like, "Yo, we should do something to protect each other." And maybe we're jumping too far ahead here, but set up from the beginning of this season of Echo showing this this isn't what we signed up for, right? Like
almost a greater purpose.
Like I need a greater purpose, and so Echo wants to go away with Rex.
Yeah, that was great.
And as soon as I started realized that was sort of happening, because I almost thought when we saw Rex meet up with the Bad Batch again, Echo should go with him, but they'll never do that, right? Like they'll never pull a character out of the core cast, and then they fucking prove me wrong, and I love that, right? Like that shows real character development and something that, in all honesty, we don't always get in a show like this. You'll get character development for like one or two characters like Omega and Hunter maybe, but like the rest of the cast isn't necessarily going to show character development in the same way.
This with Echo departing the Bad Batch kind of plays into my theory of what I think is going to end up happening to the Bad Batch as individuals, or at least in some shape or form, is where we've had an episode with Tech and the riot racing, and then we had Wrecker with Kashyyyk, and you have Echo. So like, I feel like they're setting up places that
they're each going to find their own home.
It'll be like the ending of The Sandlot, where every single summer one less kid shows up.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
I feel like this is like another one of those. I mean, obviously, I think Rex and Echo are going to show back up again.
Of course.
Season,
and I think
Echo's going to find.
Well, here's the other thing too, right? We know Echo isn't with Rex by the time of Rebels.
Right.
So, I think Kevin's brought up a few times, like what we think is going to happen to the Bad Batch in the end. I think that's my favorite speculation ending, is that they each find their own place, they each find their own home. And where is that, right? What does that look like?
Because just like all the rest of the clones out there, they're all wondering, what are we going to do? And I think for the Bad Batch, we're all wondering, how are they going to end? But I think it'd be nice to give them a nice ending, like
and I'm kind of starting to wonder maybe if that's what the overall point of the series is, right? Because
at least those episodes, because people will call them filler, and I'm like, well, I think what they could be doing is it's not just filler; it's going to pay off in the end. Because remember when they did this riot racing, we were like, why? What is this for? Oh no, it's to show you this is something that Tech would find himself in his retirement.
Maybe
years,
Tech will end up on Malastare.
Very fast.
Actually, that's
dangerous.
not. Actually, we know for a fact the Empire outlawed pod racing. But
they're not pod racing.
Really?
They're riot racing.
Well, but I said he would end up on Malice.
Why would they outlaw pod
They
racing?
could switch over to riot
Because
racing.
Anakin has bad memories. Who cares?
It's the whole thing.
Anyways, it's a whole thing. You'd have to see episode 1.
I don't know if you've ever seen it.
I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I because there's like Rebels ultimately had what the show was about, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And I would like to see this show. I think this was my complaint. Like when we did our like preview episode of Bad Batch, I said like, I just want to see this show be about something.
Yeah.
And like where I kind of didn't love the first season, but when it was about like what happens after the Clone Wars, immediately after, and like what this aftermath is, like that's what I enjoy. If this show truly is about what the final fate of the clones is and what happens to the surviving clones, because I'm going to be honest, the Empire cannot kill off all of the clones. And
kill off everybody on Kamino. I mean,
I know, but but also from a storytelling perspective,
Sure. Yeah.
I don't really want to see the Empire just kill off all these clones and kill off all the Jedi and kill off the Kaminoans. Yeah. I understand they're evil, but that gets a little old and played out for me as an observer of the story overall, right?
Yeah.
Well, from my point of view, the Kaminoans were evil.
No, well, the Kaminoans are weird.
The one like disgraced senator. That represented them.
Ellie
she was so.
She's just
so
like basically
I was trying to
I
figure
don't
out,
care that all my people.
Is it
died.
a reference? Is her name a reference to Halliburton?
Yes.
Like the oil pipeline company.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Halliburton.
The way she just did not give a crap that her people are almost extinct.
No.
She's like,
Omega.
I'm chilling.
And then she sees Omega there, and she's like, "I'm a clone."
Well, you know what? Because
I was
I'm
like,
gonna be honest. I think.
Well, anyways, you don't even have proof, so never mind.
I think more what that was. I think it was less that she didn't care. I think that she just assumed that Chachi was trying to. What's her name?
Chuchi.
Yes, what did I say?
Chachi.
Okay. I think she was just afraid that Chuchi was trying to
I kind of wish her name was Tucci.
Tucci.
Like Stanley?
Tucci.
Anyways, I'm sorry.
Well, you know what? Her name's Tucci now. I think that it was more that she assumed Tucci was just trying to use her for political gain and didn't actually care, right? Because I think she's probably so used to
She's
so many
fucking
of
jaded as hell.
yeah,
you know?
she's jaded as hell, right? And ultimately, yeah, Cuckoo does care about the clones and the Kaminoans.
Yeah.
You say cuckoo.
Try and keep up, Brandon. Come on.
Yeah, it's an ever evolving. She keeps changing her name. Okay. I think ultimately she did care, and that's why she was going to her. Right? Was to show like, hey, this matters. Right? Mm-hmm. This should matter to the Senate because she is the example of the naive, idealistic senator. Right? Whereas like Bail and Pomlo and Mon Mothma are keyed into somewhat of what's really happening. This Senate, Chono does care, but she just is a little naive about it.
Yeah, I mean, right? Bail Organa knows better than anyone. He's literally harboring Darth Vader's daughter. It's his secret daughter that not even he knows about.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah.
I do want to touch on the heist of this
it's
later
great.
episode. Dude, I feel like I'm a little overly critical on the action in this series, but man, did I love
This was good.
what they did on the Venator. So fun and interesting, and actually had real stakes because, look, we know that somehow the clones get phased out, right? Or they disappear from the Empire's control or whatnot, or at least servitude. And to see Rex and all the other Bad Batch members, do what they do on the ship, and how they escape with the escape pods and stuff like that. And
that was cool.
They throw the thrusters on the Venator to create this big diversion. I mean, I was like, this is so cool.
And I love that consistently we saw this, like we first started kind of seeing this with Rex in the last couple episodes of Clone Wars, where he's using the stun setting on his blaster.
Yeah.
Because the stun setting always cracks me up because it's only in A New Hope.
Yeah,
and it's
That's
not.
right, it's never seen again.
It's never. We never see it in any other Star Wars movie. So I love that the Bad Batch is running through with the stun setting. Although I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be frank for a minute. You could be me.
Never mind.
I don't think that the DC-15 rifle should have a stun setting. The fucking rifle from the Clone Commando video games, like that's outright a fucking war weapon.
Sure.
Like, it makes sense that all the blaster pistols have it because that's where we've seen it before.
But sometimes when you're at war, you just need to make someone go a little sleep.
You need to take a hostage every once in a while, and if you don't have a stun setting,
good
what
night.
do you do?
You're dead. You're dead. You're taking a nap.
Nap time.
Right.
But yeah, great couple episodes.
A lot of fun.
It's very cathartic. It's still, I think, very cathartic for me that Echo is back with Rex.
Yeah, I do like that. It makes a lot of sense. Like I said, we're going to see them again, I'm certain.
Oh, yeah.
So when they pop up, it's going to be very interesting to be like, oh boy,
And
they're in some deep doo-doo.
I'm going to be honest. I'm kind of happy that we're getting a smaller crew for the main cast because it means we can spend more time with them and get a little more differentiation between them.
Yeah.
Because they are kind of one note, and I think if we're shrinking that cast, we can start to get a little more nuance out of them.
Yeah.
So I'm always okay with that.
Cool.
So I have a question. Does Hunter put makeup on every morning? Or
I
is
was wondering.
Or is that
I
a
don't know why
tattoo
I
on
noticed
his
this
face?
episode too,
Guys,
like, just
hey,
is that a tattoo? I think it's just a face tattoo.
go into the
Some tattoo.
go into the comments. Let us
Got a
know.
Mike Tyson.
Let us know. Does Hunter have a tattoo, or is he a big fan of face paint? Let us know in the comments. Answer our question, and if you want us to answer your questions, you could join us in the Discord, which we're going to do in a minute. We're going to go to the Discord. We're going to get some questions. So you got like
There's one, before we get to the questions, there's one thing that I wanted to shout out.
Okay.
And Kevin pointed this out to me.
Kevin Smith.
We have a few things before we get to the questions, but yeah.
Yeah. We understand that very tough time over in the other part of the world that had a huge earthquake
In Turkey.
and Syria. And Kevin pointed out to us that Darth Valeria, something that a big fan of the KOTOR series over there, also tunes into this show. And we just want to say we're thankful that you're okay, and hopefully you're doing well and as well as you can in a situation like this. And hopefully, if you're able to listen to our episodes or whatnot, we can give you some relief from your current situation, which must be incredibly stressful.
At least entertainment.
At least, at the very least, just a break, and
at least something that like masquerades as entertainment.
Yeah, there you go. But hope you're doing all right, and we're just thankful that you're doing all right so far. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, so Jedi Survivor.
Yeah.
We got a 9-minute IGN gameplay trailer.
Lame.
Which last week you guys talked about
Gameplay.
last week you guys talked about the game getting pushed back.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So the game, if you didn't already know, the game's been pushed back. I'm totally cool with that because hey, fucking that game needs to come out well, right?
Yeah.
We don't want a repeat of other games
And
having.
the other note was gives us more time to read the book before the
Exactly.
game. Which is like, I could use an extra 6 weeks.
Exactly.
To paraphrase Anakin Skywalker, I am a slow reader.
I don't think that's correct, Brandon.
I don't
I
think.
think you better. I don't think that's right.
He says I'm a slow runner.
Oh.
No, he doesn't. Okay, you need to.
And then Obi-Wan goes, Anakin, and hands him an audiobook.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually an Audible free trial.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
Anakin, sign up for Audible. Use the code Scoundrels Inc.
That's right.
No, we're not sponsored.
No, we could get an affiliate,
Not yet.
but whatever.
But yeah, so we got a gameplay trailer. Can I just say IGN needs to get someone who knows how to play video games when they do gameplay reveals?
Oh, real quick. I'm sorry. I have another statement from Kevin
Sure.
about Bad Batch. He says, cool episodes. Bummed to miss the discussion, but happy I don't have to mispronounce Palpatine throughout the show. Now, I don't know if you saw this on our TikTok. There's a couple commenters that called out the fact that Kevin was saying Palpatine instead of Palpatine, and I think that's pretty funny.
Well, you know why? It's because he grew up in the age of the Ovaltine ads.
Okay. I mean, so did I, but...
Because he grew up in the age when we only had the original trilogy and it was never set on screen.
That's correct. That's fair. Well, it's like I've talked about this before. I don't know if I've talked about it on the podcast, but I only ever watched the episode 1 like theatrical cut, which was the original VHS cut, which is missing a large chunk of the pod race.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Including Ben Quadraneros being from Tund.
Yeah.
So I'm still upset about that.
Were you studying on a VHS tape?
No, but I didn't. A lot of what I had for episode 1 was like internal ingrained, right? So that wasn't like
There 12 movies. You could have watched it.
Do we want to? Yeah, 90 days.
90. Oh, no, 60.
I thought it was
60 days,
60,
whatever
60.
it was. Anyways,
Anywho,
yeah. So, what did you think about the gameplay trailer, overall, or gameplay reveal? I should say. Brandon, we'll start with you.
I saw Battle Droids, so I'm in.
And it sounds like it's actually Matt Wood.
Does it?
I think so.
That's Matt Good, who's a different actor entirely. Because I'm making a pun, saying it's good, but it's Matthew Wood. Who also voiced General Grievous, by the way. But also, I thought it was cool because of the battle droids. I want more battle droids in my Star Wars. I'm glad we're getting them in Mandalorian Season 3 and some weird cantina.
You know, he also played Bib Fortuna.
Bib Fortuna, that's correct.
Book of Mandalorian, in that little end credit scene, and in episode 1.
Correct. Yes, I did know that too. But I didn't want to,
You don't have any more Matt Wood facts?
I don't know. Didn't he make like sound effects or something?
Yeah, that's what he did.
Yeah. Pretty
Frankie.
cool.
I liked it.
Roger.
I liked that
I like the saber forms.
the saber forms look really cool, going from single to dual to splitting the dual bladed saber.
Looks like
really
you just
cool.
actively switch between the 3, which I thought you would have to make more
A decision
of
of, like,
conscious
just-
choice,
yeah,
in the meditation screen or in the loadout
Right,
or at a
totally.
work table. But it looks like you just actively switch between.
which is fun.
Whatever
Yeah.
you want
That
to.
makes for a much more dynamic battles
Gameplay.
and fights and gameplay and stuff like that. The world looked pretty cool. I like everyone talks about how much murdering of animals.
There's a
in
lot
this
of
game.
animal
I
murder.
was
This 9 minutes
bringing
showed-
that up.
Yeah.
This 9 minutes showed a lot
I
of
was
animals
like,
getting sliced.
damn, he
which,
decapitated a lot of
Yeah.
those dinosaur-looking
I'm
things.
just like,
Yeah,
I
And
mean,
like,
I
if
get it, but-
Gunji was there, he would have just kind of gone up to those things and been like, "Yo,
Can I
I'm chill."
Can I make another complaint too? I feel like a lot of the animals look the same.
Well, I think we're just on the one planet.
No, but I mean, a lot of the animals look like the animals you killed in the other game, just with a slight different like texture.
Killing
applied
animals
to
in the other game too.
Yeah.
You kill a lot of animals.
Is there an option to do the whole like Jedi like talking to animals?
I think in
thing?
this game you'll get that option.
You know, because I would like to do.
Well, because at
Yeah.
one point, I think in the trailer you
Like
saw
my
he's flying.
personal
on
hero
some-
Gunji.
I think in this game you will eventually get that option, but I don't remember
Other
it.
examples are Baby Ahsoka and Grogu.
And Grogu and Ezra.
I didn't see that.
I know you should though. He does.
Yeah, I think Anakin does it once.
He does it to space whales.
Ray does it.
The Purgle.
Ray does it to the snake.
Big snake.
Yeah.
Yeah, but overall, I'm excited to go play the game, and I'm honestly, if anything else, I'm actually kind of more excited to read the book.
Really?
So just because I want to know
I
how
want to
did
know.
he get
I want to know what
here?
happened. Well, we
Yeah,
know he
you know?
crashed. We know he crashes on that planet.
right, but
from
like,
the
I want to know
gameplay
his.
trailer.
I'm very curious.
But I want to
in
know,
his
yeah,
journey
what
to get
happened in
there.
that 10-year? Is
So
it
if you have an
5-year,
advanced
10-year
copy
gap?
out there, I know people do. Just
Yeah. Hey, if anyone has an advanced copy and
whatever,
wants to send
you know.
Scoundrels Inc.
you know
a
you
couple,
are. You know you are.
yeah.
You know you are.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, you have the advanced copy, so obviously you know.
And I bet you
Anyways.
know who I am.
Yeah, but they don't know who Frank is.
No, they don't.
No. But do I know who you are?
Yeah, you do.
Do any of us know who anybody really is?
Mm,
I'm a Palpatine.
What?
I'm sorry. I'm a Palpatine.
Palpatine.
Different.
But like, are
It's
you
different.
actually a Palpatine, or are you like the offspring of like a clone of a Palpatine?
You'll have to find out in the comic in 7 years.
All right, hey guys, let's go to questions, guys. Once
Yeah.
again, if you want to send us some questions, they don't have to be about Star Wars. Even they could just
No.
be about whatever the fuck you want.
Cooking recipes,
Uh-huh.
beard trimming.
I've neglected my beard for a little bit. I gotta do some trim and clean up on it.
Me too.
Hey, but you know what? If you could travel to any location, be it a planet or space station in the Star Wars universe,
The
where would you
Elenium system.
where would you go and why? And what's the first thing you do when you get there?
I would go to the medical frigate. I would go on a medical frigate like in Empire Strikes Back, and I would
Look at that
get a new
galaxy.
hand.
A Nebulon? Is there
You
something
don't
wrong
need
with
a
your
new
hand?
hand.
I just want a mechanical.
You
one.
have
Alright.
2 hands.
I just want a
Nebulon
mechanical.
B?
I want to be.
You're gonna miss the real one. Trust me.
So fun fact in Legends there was a species called the Gank, and they were a
Sean's making up words again.
no, I'm not. I'm not. They were one of the Hutt slave race. So in Legends the Hutts have like all these slave races that they've subjugated, and the Gank were these like fuzzy people, like
like a bear.
well they were like normal
Like an
human
Ewok?
shape, not
Okay.
like
a big Ewok.
a big Ewok, right?
Like a Wookiee.
But they were kind of ugly. And
okay.
they were obsessed with cybernetically enhancing
Enhancement?
themselves.
That's cool.
And they worked as like tough enforcers for the Hutts.
Cool.
So like those.
So you'd be one of those.
So
Okay,
like,
yeah,
like
yeah,
those
I'll dig it.
kids on Tatooine in Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, kind of
Oh,
like
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
like the
that's right.
mods.
Yeah,
yeah.
Very much like the mods, but not human.
Cool.
Interesting.
I would go to. I would want to go enjoy Coruscant nightlife.
Okay.
I'd want to go to Coruscant.
We didn't talk about that enough in our Bad Batch stuff because they really show Coruscant, the deeper levels.
Yeah,
really
little bit.
gritty.
It's one big city.
Yeah.
But I would like I
here?
want to go to like the Outlander Club from episode 2, right? Or,
Oh yeah, yeah.
I just feel like
Go back to your
Coruscant.
drinks, Jedi business.
I feel like Coruscant would have some pretty cool bars, or Corellia would probably Corellia pre-Empire,
yes, get it.
like not Corellia during the
Yeah.
Empire, but Corellia during the Republic. I feel like would probably have like a really good speakeasy because Corellia in Legends was known for, and a little bit in canon, known for their whiskeys and their brandies and stuff. So like,
Do they really have
Ale.
whiskey and brandy?
I believe so. Yeah,
Definitely brandy. I don't know. About
Corellian.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I think that's
What?
right. Yeah.
Corellian. They have what are they known
Makes no
for?
sense.
Why?
Why would they have drinks from our universe?
They just
Well,
coincidentally had the same
whiskey is
name.
just grain alcohol.
We don't have moof juice.
You're right. They probably also have
We
other.
don't have moofers.
They have other alcohols that we don't have. They can't have champagne unless it's from the Champagne region of space.
Chandrilla champagne.
From the Chandrilla region of Champagne region of Naboo.
I might want to go to Naboo and like frolic through the
I
field.
feel like Naboo's the easy answer, and that's why I didn't
Is
give
it?
it. Yeah.
You know, I don't
I'm changing
know.
my answer. I want to be on like one of those like fancy party yachts, like a Canto Bite.
I was thinking Canto.
Yeah,
Bite.
I thought about Canto Bite too.
I think but I want to be on a yacht, like a space yacht.
I'm not comfortable with the
That'd be
fathier
sweet.
racing though.
No, because
morally-
horses smell.
I don't morally agree with that. They're nice.
I don't care about
creatures.
that. Horses just smell.
And the little kids that they have working there.
What else we got? Another question.
Brandon didn't give an answer.
Well, I kind of get like on the
Okay.
Moo, Canto Bite. I don't know.
Glianselm or Scarif, right?
Ooh, Scarif before they get blown.
Well, that's why I said Glianselm. Glianselm is where is like another.
Glianselm. That's where Tobias Beckett's from.
And
You didn't think I knew that, bro?
who else?
I don't know.
Kit Fisto.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool.
All right, that question was from Nep. I didn't shout that out.
Nep.
Thank you, Nep.
Thanks.
And Erden5 wants
New
to
to
know,
the Discord.
New
What's
to the
up, buddy?
Discord. Welcome. If there was an R-rated Star Wars movie, how would you react to it? And do you think it's possible? I absolutely think it's possible. I think we're going that route eventually. I think we'll get it eventually.
Probably walk out of the theater and go, boy, that was a lot of blood.
I don't think we'll get it theatrically though. I think we'll get it on Disney
Kind of
Plus.
weird that Anakin said fuck so many times.
What the fuck, Padme?
I don't think there will ever
I try not to
be
curse
a
on
rated
here, but
R Star Wars film.
You don't.
I
I
needed
don't
that
think
for
there
the
will
bit.
ever be. It goes completely against.
So how would you react then?
I would be pretty disappointed. I would be
disappointed.
disappointed that
Okay.
that they feel like they have to tell a Star Wars story, but they can only do with an R rating. I'm like, no. Then that's not really a Star Wars story you're probably trying to tell me. At least in its traditional themes and whatnot. I mean, like, what's the point? I mean, you could make any one of these Star Wars movies rated R easily by just adding blood and being more gory, showing Anakin actually murdering children. You can easily do that, but we still understand what they are trying to convey with the imagery that they've presented to us and the language they use in these movies. So to go to an R-rated scale, it doesn't make sense to me, and I don't think they would ever do it. It's Disney, first of all, so it's Lucasfilm. Like, no, they don't make rated R content.
Yeah, I think I agree with Frank. I don't think you need a rated R Star Wars movie for the types of stories that they tell. Like some movies, like an Evil Dead, like you can't make a PG-13 Evil Dead because it completely spits in the face of everything that's
So
supposed
that gets to what I want to ask you guys then. So what if they were starting to tell other sorts of Star Wars stories, not instead of the traditional Star Wars stories we have so far, but in addition to? So, like, for example, what if we wanted to get a Star Wars horror movie, right? Would you be okay with that being rated R?
I think there are. First of all, there are horror movies out there that are not rated R, so you could still do this.
Right,
You can still do that, but it doesn't need to be rated R. Sure, you can do a horror film.
But like for instance, like a Star Wars horror movie, let's say it's like there is like a Sith like acting like a serial killer, and it's like a slasher movie, and they're hunting down like a bunch of younglings who are like off from the rest of the Jedi Order, like thousands of years ago or whatever. Like in concept, that'd be cool. But if you're gonna make that type of a story, like why make it a Star Wars story?
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not make it like something unique?
Because I will say I would love to have like a I was telling you guys I have randomly been watching a lot of bad, some good, some bad, but mostly bad action films on Netflix and stuff. Like Extraction or The Gentleman or Lucky Number 11. Like those sorts of sort of like high octane, a little bit bloody, a little bit like, dark action films. I wouldn't mind seeing one of those set in a Star Wars universe. So because of that, I'd be cool with a rated R movie, but I don't want a movie that could be done PG-13 or PG, done rated R just to do it. I want a movie that the story is served by being rated R, done in rated R, and I also don't want that to take the place of another film, right? Mm-hmm. If that's in addition to or on top of, if we get to a point where Lucasfilm's like, hey, you know what, over the next few years, we're going to just release a bunch of movies that are Star Wars, but outside of what we normally do. They want to experiment with that a little bit. Great. I want to see it, but I never want that instead of the family-friendly, all-ages Star Wars that we have.
Yeah. It's just, I'd be really disappointed if that ever.
You think so? Because
I would.
So
be, yes,
because I think Andor is TV-14,
sure.
which is R. TV-14 is essentially R.
Hold on, wouldn't it be TVMA?
Got him.
That's a newer. TVMA is newer.
Okay, we're talking about our times, not like
Okay,
20 years
great.
ago.
Then, well, I'm thinking of when I watched actual regular TV and not new TV, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Andor would be almost TVMA. It's very close to it, I think.
I
personally.
disagree.
Okay.
But yeah.
But I think
I think it is
because,
certainly the
because
some of
I
the
don't think
darkest-
because I don't
Yeah.
think Andor
Yeah.
I don't think Andor is remotely for kids, right? I'm not going to tell anyone to go have their kid watch Andor.
No, yeah.
Hey kid,
Right?
you love the Bad Batch? You love
You should watch
Omega?
Andor, right? or even you like the original trilogy, or you like the prequels, or even you like Rogue One. You should watch Andor, right? Andor is an adult-oriented show. I don't think if Andor is actually TVMA, that's a disservice to Star Wars or the story
No,
that they're
I'm
telling.
not saying Andor is TVMA.
But what I'm saying is if it was,
Oh, if it
I
was.
don't think that's a disservice to Star Wars or the story they're telling, right? I think that's just...
Well, I mean, like, you gotta think about why do TV shows get that rating, TVMA? Why?
Well, that's the thing. It's a sliding scale nowadays, right? Because
I mean, there's
because it
a
used
lot
to
of
be
cursing,
it
right?
used to be if they dropped one F-bomb or if it was a little violent that it would be TVMA. But now with the advent of Game of Thrones and prestige television, that line has been sliding. So I think for me, I'm thinking of a different R and MA scale than I think what the reality currently is, right? I think a lot of things that got the R rating, like say 10 years ago, would not get the R rating today. They'd get a 13 rating. So I think maybe that's what I'm thinking, right? Like for me, I think the R scale is a lot lower than I think maybe you do, right? I don't think something needs to be like terribly but bloody to get R. I think it's more about the story they're telling and the subject matter for me personally.
Okay.
So, okay, well,
Arg.
arg.
I'm a space.
I think this question's just for me, but I'm going to phrase it in a way that all of you guys can answer it. Have either of you guys ever played a battle royale?
No.
Like Fortnite
like Smash?
or like Fortnite or
PUBG?
PUBG?
No.
I've watched people play it.
So
What's the question?
Darth Mono in the chat wants to know if there was an Apex Legends style game, what planets do you think would make cool maps?
Oh yeah, that's totally you. All you. I cannot contribute.
I'm just gonna think about all the cool maps that were in the original Star Wars Battlefront 2. Like a Mustafar.
So I will pitch. So it's
that one with Kiedi
think like
Moody.
a Hunger Games style game, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a big map. You got to get your supplies, and then you got to kill other people, right? That's like you
The
got to
Jedi
survive.
Temple.
I think the Jedi Temple would be cool.
Oh,
I think,
man, yeah.
I think Coruscant Temple District would be cool. I think you could do a dope Jakku map with the Star Destroyers. That'd be a cool battle royale map.
Imagine how cool the actual Senate chamber would be. If you have like people like up top and people down low and you're like shooting at one another.
Well, so for a battle royale, that'd just be part of the map. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You want a big area. That'd be cool.
They should do that in Battlefront whenever the next one
I
comes out.
hope so. That would be a cool Battlefront map.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the problem is Battlefront like tries to stick to a certain like canonical era. So I don't know if we'd ever actually get that, but that'd be cool.
It would be cool too, like because like you could like play as like the heroes or whatever, like and villains and stuff. You could play as Palpatine and actually throw the seats at people.
That'd be dope.
Huh?
I would love that. That's the kind
Hire
of shit
me.
I want in a video game. And from one of our favorites, say it with me.
Haitnama.
Kino Loy.
Haitnama.
Kino Loy. Aitnama. Aichinama. How do you all feel about the politics of Star Wars? Is there something that's criticized a lot, or it is something that's criticized a lot for making the prequels boring? But growing up with the prequels, I see it as an essential part of the series. I agree.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite parts of Andor is the political intrigue with Mon Mothma.
Hey, one of my favorite parts of this last two episodes of the Bad Batch, I thought was really cool and interesting, and how they're dealing with clones and their rights, and how Palpatine is manipulating people and always finding a way to come out on top. I think is really cool. So to like literally see the actual politics, like you're like watching a State of the Union address or something, as compared to like Star Wars always being political, are like two different things, But I think both aspects have their place in the story.
Yeah, I like politics in Star Wars, especially these last two Bad Batch episodes. The way we saw kind of how the Senate operates and kind of the backdoor dealings and whatnot. You know, mirrors the real world. You know, and honestly, watching the State of the Union address and then going right into those episodes of Bad Batch, I was like, holy shit!
Was the State of the Union today?
Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday. I missed it.
Tuesday, and then because I watched Bad Batch at midnight, so even though I normally watch them in the morning, but
imagine, I want to see a Palpatine State of the Union address, and like Masameda and like Sly Moore like behind him.
So that was what I was gonna say. Was I think people get really
just always clapping for everything.
Yeah, they just.
I think people get really turned off by like the politics in episode 1 and 2. I don't think people are turned off by the politics in episode 3. I don't think people are turned off with the actual dystopian politics when we get full dystopian with the Empire.
True.
The other thing I wanted to point out was like there with what you said with like Palpatine giving these big grand speeches, right? Like you have like when I think politics of Star Wars, I also go to like Rogue One, the like discussion of what to do in the Yavin Chamber. I go to like the rallying speech that Mavra gives at the end of Andor. Like I think it extends farther than just politics in a Senate chamber, right? It's about the intrigue and about the like almost the real life implications of what's going on.
Yeah, it's just not politicians bickering back and forth. There's politics, I think, is viewed like that from our, but it's like it's more. It's like about movements and
I think maybe episode 1 fumbled that a little bit.
I don't think they really tackled it really. I mean,
I think they just made it uninteresting.
They threw it. They threw it in there as kind of like the impetus of why things are happening this way. I mean, you just saw like, hey, no vote for this. No vote for confidence in this guy.
Because blah, blah, this episode almost has the same thing that's going on in episode 1, where it's just the arguing in the actual Senate chamber. And this episode, it was so interesting. In episode 1, it's kind of a little dull, but I don't know. I think that's just evolution of time has made made them learn how to do it a little better with the storytelling.
I noticed also like the sound design. I feel like was different. I remember in Phantom Menace, it's like there's like those like little like almost like I don't know if they're like cameras.
They're cameras,
like,
yeah.
Like I don't remember hearing that anywhere else.
I like those.
Yeah, where'd those go? What happened to those? They stopped airing that on TV when?
All right, our last question is from John Booz, and it's kind of an interesting one. If Yoda, Grogu, and Yaddle's home planet is ever to be revealed, as blasphemous a moment as that will be, how would you like that story to be delivered?
Well, thank goodness this isn't an F, Marry, Kill situation.
Yeah, that's actually, he then goes on to say, would you like to be a TV show, a movie, a book? In George's last words, is there a Star Wars creator you'd want to handle it? And then he has a follow-up question, and that's FMK, Yoda, Grogu, Yaddle.
Oh, man. I don't know. I'd say kind of just like leave it a mystery, really.
But that's not the question. The question is, as blasphemous as it is, how do you want... It's like
I can't get out of this?
You can't get out of it. It's
happening.
Yeah. I agree. I'd rather it be left at. I want it to be George's last words. I like that idea.
Yeah, that's funny.
I like him to just be like, after everything, I think everyone should know. Yoda's from the planet Zimzam. It's a swamp planet.
They eat breakfast for dinner and lunch for breakfast.
And there is another
I will say,
and then he fades away.
Yeah, I will say
they do everything backwards. That's fine.
I will say if the story was happening, has to happen. I would rather it be a book.
Yeah, do it in like a High Republic book.
And I don't care when it's at because I'm not going to read it. But if
but
if it was going to be done,
read it.
If it was going to be I'll just wait for someone else to read and tell me about it.
Oh,
if it was going to be done, I would rather have it be a book than because at least that way no one can complain about the imagery on screen or in a comic because you're like, oh, it's up to your own mind how to paint the picture. And I guess honestly, if someone's going to do it, it might as well be Dave Filoni. Just because I think, or even Jon Favreau would be interesting, actually.
I was going to say Jon Favreau.
Yeah, Jon Favreau might be interesting tone, but
Mandalorian
I would be more receptive to any story Yoda, planet origin, whatever, if it was from Dave, because we say this all the time, but he is the closest thing we're going to have to George in terms of how he follows kind of the rules and themes that George has set out to do when making Star Wars. So for that, that would be my wish list if it was to be a wish list type of scenario. But I don't want to know. I don't ever want to know. I hope it's never touched on. To be honest, just because I like that mystery surrounding Yoda and the species.
I'm envisioning Mandalorian Season 8. Grogu can talk now.
Season 8.
The galaxy's at peace. And he just goes up to Din and he goes, "Hey, Pops, I think I want to go find out where I'm from. Let's go."
There's one more question.
Is it another new to just get put in there?
No, it's one that you missed.
Oh, did I miss it? Okay, well, I wanted to say two things. I think a lot of people forget about like Lucasfilm Story Group. I'd want to see it from like the mind of like Leland Chee or Carrie Beck, someone in the story group who like they've lived this stuff. They've literally like their job is to engross themselves in the story, but they don't often tell the stories, right? I want to see one of them because I bet you they've got a concept.
Brandon's losing it for some reason.
Brandon?
I don't understand what's going on.
I thought of a joke in my head. And
Okay.
I can't stop laughing.
Oh my
All
god.
right. This was me on like the 3rd episode or something. I don't know if you remember that.
He's like, I want to hear from the mind of Dave Filoni. And in my brain, I'm like, I want to hear from the mind of Carlos Mencia.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
But you know what?
He probably stole it from Dave.
But I've got a good answer for this.
'Cause he
I
had a
think
show
the best
called
way to
The Mind
tackle
of
it,
Mencia.
you know the little golden books, the kids' books, they're little.
yeah.
I think that's how you do it.
Interesting.
I think you just put in one of the little golden books.
Kind of like Studio Ghibli did for Grogu, but like book form.
Yeah. Like you just tell a really simple, sweet story, so that way no one can bitch about it, right?
If you make it a kid's
Except
story.
for the little kids that read it.
Yeah, but then they're not going to care, and then they grow up with it. And then are they
They're not
Italian?
Jawas? Are they Jawas?
And then their first words are, "Not my Yoda."
Oh my gosh.
What
right.
I miss?
Last question. It's from Prodigal Knight 777.
I did miss that one. Sorry.
He says, it's directed towards you, Sean.
Oh, that's why I missed it.
Yeah. We know your favorite moment from the prequels, but what is your favorite moment from episode 4 through 6? And for everyone else, do you prefer an epic space battle or a lightsaber duel?
Damn.
So, Sean, what is your favorite moment from episode 4 through 6? You want to think about that?
I want to think about
And
that.
then we can talk about lightsaber duel or
I mean, when I was a kid,
space battle.
I was all about them lightsaber duels. But now, as an adult, I have more of a refined palate.
Oh my gosh!
You know, I really enjoy.
You just made a Carlos Mencia joke in your mind. What are you talking about?
I really enjoy, ships in space going pew pew pew, and then like one guy going, "Roger, Bravo leader. Roger, Bravo leader. Come on, Red 5. What are you doing?"
Honestly, what we should do is we're going to have a separate episode where Brandon, we do an audio book, but Brandon does all the sound effects. All the sound effects and voices. I think that's fair.
Send us, you know what? Hey,
I'm
send
bad.
us your Star Wars fan fictions.
Yeah, and have Brandon.
And maybe we'll read them on here with
Oh my
Brandon
God,
doing the
that's
sound
not a bad
effects.
idea. That's not
Send
a bad
us
idea.
your fan
Not a
fics.
bad idea. I'm gonna go with lightsaber duel. I, as much as I do love a good space battle, I love the when done right. I love the intimacy between a lightsaber duel because I just feel like there's so much more going on there. I think there's layers to good lightsaber duels, especially what we see with like Luke and Vader. Right, those are, and even like Anakin and Obi-Wan. There's layers to those fights, and I really appreciate those aspects that a lightsaber duel can exude.
My answer is space battle. 110%. It's been that way for like a decade and a half.
Yeah.
Probably when I was a kid, I'd say lightsaber battle, but it's space battle, man. And favorite moment is got to be the Battle of Endor.
Really?
From the original trilogy, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That being said, if like I'm getting a little more pinpoint with it,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna. Yeah.
yeah. If I'm getting a little more pinpoint in it, I have two answers for this. So it's when, and I don't know that this is one like contiguous scene. I think it's split up with a break in between, but it's when the Rebel fleet jumps and then comes out of hyperspace, and then all wings report in with that music playing is fucking amazing. But the runner-up to that is All Wings Report In for A New Hope.
Yeah, you talked about this before. Yeah.
But I think I prefer if there was a mix between the two, because the A New Hope one's a little longer. If you can get the length of the New Hope one with the content of the Return of the Jedi one, that's my perfect original trilogy scene.
There you go.
Doesn't exist, so I'll go with Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for this week's edition of Scoundrels, Inc. Hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, leave a like, a comment, a review on our podcast
I was going to say, speaking of wrapping it up, don't forget to wrap up your thoughts on this episode in a nice review in Apple Podcasts or Spotify, which also has a review feature. Really benefits us. Wrap up your opinions on whatever I said earlier on the comments.
Yeah, do that, and tune in on Monday for our talk about The Force Awakens. We have a lot of fun going back on how this movie kind of marks a point in all our lives, and it's really fun to reminisce and talk about, especially if you are a Schmodown/Collider fan. We talk about what that means, and look, we have a lot more of the Skywalker Saga series on our channel.
Oh, on our channel.
Yeah, on our channel.
I thought you said coming up. I'm like,
No. We only have
got two left.
tail end now. Yeah, but we have all the original trilogy. We just finished up the prequel trilogy. Those are a lot of fun to tackle. So, yeah, if you don't want to watch it on our YouTube channel, listen on the podcast feed or
save them. Save them for later. Those are meant to be evergreen. So whenever you guys want to listen to those. Although I think they are time relevant as far as,
Yeah, because we're using the lead up to Mandalorian, which is in a couple weeks, which is a lot of fun. But until then, we'll see you in the future.
Scoundrel. I like the sound of that.